Hello, fellow wanderers. I'm Endry, and thank you for joining me as we wander through a little bit more of EQ Titan, a new player tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be going over EQBCS. First off, what is EQBCS? EQBCS is a lightweight chat client used to communicate between the various clients that you're running in EverQuest. For example, if you're running the MQ2 EQBCS and you're using the auto login ini that I described in earlier videos, it should pull up a command prompt window somewhat like this. This particular window is just going to echo certain commands that are going on in the game, and for the most part, there's really no reason to keep it open, so don't close it, but go ahead and minimize it. It serves no particular special function besides putting there in the background. EQBCS has a few commands that are native inside of the EQ client, and we're going to go over a few of those first. So the first thing to know is that the EQBCS is controlled by BCCMD. Slashed front, please. You go ahead and press enter, it's going to say unsupported command, and it's going to give you a list of supported commands. For this moment, we're really concerned about the help command here, which is going to give us some more information. So let's go ahead and type BCCMD help. Ooh, a lot of text. So scrolling up a little bit, let's go over what all of these things do. Now, there's a lot of functionality that the E3 macro has that uses EQBCS, but that shouldn't be confused for what EQBCS does natively, in particular the /bc commands. /bc is used to send text to a particular character. So, in particular, in this case, you would want to use it for using alias commands or other such things like that, which we'll get into in a later video. /bc plus some text isn't particularly useful in general, but it can be used for things like /bc full burns. It sends it to the entire client. BC tune name / command. I still use this, I'm guilty of it. In the EQBCS version that I use now, it's not actually recommended to use this, but in case you need to, if you do /bc, the name of one of your characters, a slash, and then a / command, it will send your command to another character. It recommends instead that you use /bct plus the tune name, and then you can either put text, which will just send your text to that particular character, which if you've got certain text strings set up for them, can set up particular effects in your bots. I don't use this at all, but you definitely can. BCT tune name / command, it's the same as BC. It does work even though it says it's deprecated. But in this case, you would do something like /bc name of the tune. I don't have a second tune logged in right now, but we'll say Endry. This is actually a character I've got logged in at the moment. And you would say // sit. And it works here because I just sent a command to myself. But what that did is it sent the / command sit to this particular character. This is what you're going to be using EQBCS directly for a lot. And it lets you do a lot of really neat things. All right, BCA. BCA is send all non-inclusive. What this means is if you've got a command you want to send to all of your characters, let's say that sit command I just did, you could do a BCA / sit. Now, you notice I didn't do anything. That's because this command is exclusive to your exclusive of your character, and therefore your character will not follow the command. This can be useful in certain situations, though to be honest, I don't use it particularly much. Usually if I want everyone to be doing something, I want everyone to do it, which is where we come down to /bcaa. This is send to all inclusive. So let's go ahead, go down here, do /bcaa / sit. Hey look, I sat. And you'll note here, it's going to echo these back into the MQ window up here, which is really useful. All right, what's some other commands that are really important here? Yes, the connect command. Now, by default, as you can see here, it's going to default to 127.0.0.1 on the port 2112. Now, 127.0.0.1, for those who don't know much about networking, is a loopback network address. It tells it, on this machine, do these commands. It's not looking for an external connection at all. So why is this important? Well, if you're running multiple computers and you want them all to function with the same set of commands, you're going to need to log one of your clients into one of your EQBCS servers. So in this case, let's do a BCCMD, and I'm going to do a quit. We'll look at that one later, but what that does is it closes your connection. Now, at this point, you can't communicate with any of your clients. But if I wanted to get back in, I could do BCCMD / and I want to, oh, sorry, no slashes, BCCMD connect 127.0.0.1. Enter. And you see it's going to try to automatically connect to port 2112. It's going to log in, and you're all set. So if I was using from a second computer, I would want to find the IP address of the main computer I'm running this on. Most of you might know how to do this, but go ahead, open up Command Prompt. If you're on Windows 10 in your search bar, just type CMD, press Enter, and type in ipconfig. It's going to show you all of the adapters on your machine, and in particular, I want to know this particular connection of mine, which is this address here, IP4 address. You'll want to send that from your other computer to this to connect to this computer through that connect command. We already overwent quit. Quit just disconnects you from the server. Force connect is like connect, but it forcibly connects you to that particular server. I believe it overrides the quit command. A BCCMD status will show connected or not, and the settings that you're currently connected or not connected under. Reconnect disconnects and reconnects you. Names shows all of the names of your connected clients. And there's a bunch of other things here that, in particular, if you're worried about them, you can take a look at. But generally, you're not going to be using these at all. The other thing you can do is set local echo, which is that kind of redirects it back to here. Tell watch is the big one. You're going to want to do tell watch to have it show up here in MQ window. That way you don't have to be looking at the correct client, but it's set by default, so nothing to worry about there. So that covers the basics of working with EQBCS inside the client. There is one other thing to look at. If you go over to your Killian's MQ2 folder, find your MQ2 EQBC INI file, open that up, and here you're going to see last connect, server equals. On your other computer, if you have one, go ahead and change this to whatever your IP address is that we just looked up. Save it, and that will go ahead and let you connect in automatically. And this line here, tell watch equals 1, go ahead and have that. Allow control equals 1, go ahead and have that set as well. And you'll be all set to have multiple clients running in at the same time. All right, so that covers basically what EQBCS is for. The primary use you're going to have for it, besides logging in from a secondary client, is using it to communicate with the rest of your bots. This is also going to be doing a lot of stuff in the background, health monitoring, buff monitoring, all these sorts of functions that the E3 macro can do, but without EQBCS, it has no way to monitor the status of your other clients. So it is super, super important to have it running to get your clients working properly. One other situation that may come up, hopefully not, especially if you're using the batch file I described a few videos ago, is you might start up your client without actually having MQ2 EQBCS running. Now, if it's just one client and you catch yourself and you don't want to have to go through logging them all in, go ahead, open up this manually if you need to. And then in here, you're just going to do that BCCMD connect 127.0.0.1, or if it's a secondary computer, whatever your address is for your primary computer, and that will connect you in. Nothing works before you do that, and you can usually figure out pretty quickly if you've forgotten to open up this ahead of time. But as long as you're running the batch file and you let it open up, you shouldn't ever have that problem. But just in case of an emergency, that does help in case you need to know it. There is one small problem I have with MQ2 EQBCS that crops up from time to time. If one of your client hangs, let's say they die, they try to load back into their spawn point, but the client doesn't load, this can sometimes cause EQBCS to crash. When this happens, don't close MQ2 EQBCS. You need to go over to that client and close it manually. Everything will start working again after that. But as long as that client is hung, there's a really good chance none of your commands will go through. It can really suck in the middle of a fight. It can really suck if you're not paying attention and you're moving around here and all of a sudden, hey, your people aren't following you anymore. So that is one thing to keep in mind about EQBCS. But other than that, once you've gotten all that figured out and set up, you're good to go as far as getting all of your clients to actually talk to each other. So in the next video, we're going to actually go through a few of the commands of E3, and in particular, we're going to be focusing on grouping up and movement, because those are the first two things that are going to be super important to know how to do inside of E3 and MQ2. So until our paths cross again, have fun and be safe out there, everyone.